Hey guys, so it's bringing you another video, and welcome to another patch note breakdown. So this is for patch 11.20. I still can't sometimes believe how quick these patches come around. Like, for me, time is going very fast, and sometimes it's the reminder of, God, it's been 2 weeks, because obviously we get a patch every 2 weeks. So it goes without saying, I believe this won't be in Worlds, this patch. The Worlds kind of lock themselves to a certain patch, and I think they lock themselves to patch 11.19, I think. Also worth knowing, there's not too many patches left. I think the last patch of Season 11 will be 11.24. So including this one, there's like 5 patches. So kind of crazy. So let's have a little looky. So, attention all ghouls, ghosts, and spooky, scary skeletons, because obviously this is the month of Halloween, and I know Americans, you guys love Halloween. Not as much of a big thing here in the UK. But the magic dust from the last 2 patches may have settled, but we have a few more tricks and treats in store for the rest of the season. This patch has a handful of champion tweaks to keep things brewing smoothly, plus a set of bewitching new skins. So yes, we have got the Halloween skin. So let's get into just the summary. Is the nerfs for Talia and Moo Moo, Singed, Jarvan, Irelia, and Shen, and then buffs to Darius, Elise, Hecarim, and weirdly Udyr. I say weirdly Udyr because he is getting a rework, but I don't think his rework is coming this year. I think it's next year, so the champion still needs to be playable, I guess, before his rework. We then have the new skins, so Bewitching Fiora, Nami, Syndra, Yuumi, Poppy, and then we're getting a older Bewitching skin is getting a prestige, which is Morgana. These will be available October 2021, so in 1 day, basically. We're also getting system changes to Imperial Mandate and Smite. So I will say, don't expect in the next few patches. We'll still cover them because I enjoy doing the patch notes, and if you guys appreciate me doing them, please do smash a like on the video and leave your opinion on what you think about them, because I like to keep up to date with the game. And if I didn't do these patch note videos, I might not read the patch notes. And if I didn't make these and you not watching it, you probably won't read the patch notes either. So please do throw a like on the video if you appreciate that. Again, this will be today's second video. I'll get it all done and uploaded tonight. So let's get into it. So, what I was about to say is, yeah, don't expect crazy amount of changes now. Like, if this is patch 11.20 and we've got up until patch 11.24, I'm not expecting crazy amounts of change. The next big change that's going to be coming for the game will be pre-season, end of season pre-season for season 12. So yeah. So first is a Moo Moo. Of me recording this, well, actually of today, it's been day 1 of Worlds, technically. It's the play-in stages, not like groups and stuff. I don't know, of me recording this, has a Moo Moo support been banned or has it been picked yet? Because I had made that prediction that he is going to be picked, but we'll see. And this seems to be he is getting nerfed. Now, just let's clarify. Yeah, so on each of these nerfs, it has which role it's being nerfed for. See that next to a Moo Moo? It is being nerfed as a support. So kind of interesting. So a Moo Moo's gotten a little too strong in both jungle and support, mainly support. He's uncharacteristically, that's a tough word to say with a dry mouth, made lots of friends in bot lane. So we're nerfing him a little bit more there. And I'll be honest, I like a Moo Moo support. I actually much prefer a Moo Moo support than jungle, personally. So the damage they are nerfing, keeping the same AP ratio, but just toning down how much raw damage it does. Starting at level 2, it will feel a bit of a nerf. But the bigger nerf, and a pretty damn big one, is the mana cost. So he still can have 2 Qs, I think it's 4 seconds apart. But it used to be at rank 1, it was a 30 mana cost, and it used to go up to 50 at rank 5. It's now a 70 mana cost across the board. At rank 1, it's costing 40 more mana. That is a large nerf. And again, it's a definite support nerf. The reason being, in jungle, you're not using your Q as much because you go for the Q when you do a gank, and that's about it, right? Every now and then you're going for a gank, and you having mana, you're getting mana from the jungle item and stuff. It's not a big deal as a jungler. It is a big deal in support because you're trying to constantly look for these Q engages, and it's kind of like Blitzcrank hook. And I guess you should kind of, in a weird way, consider a Moo Moo Q like a Blitzcrank hook. It's a big part of what a Moo Moo can do is limited to hitting that Q. So having a more intense mana cost, meaning he has to be more careful of when he's using it, I guess makes sense if they don't mind him being a support. I don't mind a Moo Moo being a support. Let me know what you guys think. And I think this is right, saying we don't mind him being a support, but we do need to tone that down. Donkey D. So unfortunately, well, I say unfortunately because I do like the champion, but of the top laners of Season 11, Darius, I think at the beginning of the season he was okay with the Stride Breaker when that used to actually give you a lot bigger dash. I think it was. He, unfortunately, since that has been pretty oof. He's fallen off in comparison. That's the point. A lot of people go, oh, he's still strong. He has his moments. If a Darius can get a good lane phase and get fed, he can do well. But if you, on average, compare a Darius to the more meta top laners, he just isn't there. Like, compare him to a Camille and those type of champs. He just isn't quite there. Aatrox, etc. And I think a lot of that is Darius. He can buy Gore Drinker. Obviously, the item is insane, but he doesn't perfectly synergize with Gore Drinker in comparison to Aatrox, Camille, all those type of champs. So they're just giving him a small buff, and I know there'll be some people going, oh god, Darius buff, but they're just doing the W change. So W cooldown decrease, and it no longer scales. So it used to be a 7-second cooldown at rank 1. It used to then a 5-second at rank 5. It's now 5-second across the board. So it's just, that is it. That is, Darius W is a 5-second cooldown from now on. It'll give him a bit more lane power in the early game, but when it says no longer scales, what I think that is referring to, potentially, is it used to scale maybe off cooldown reduction or ability haste, and maybe it's not doing that now. Maybe it's just 5 seconds no matter what, possibly. I don't know. But there's that. So Elise, a jungler I like. So base health and armor growth increase. They are buffing the spider. Elise keeps getting trampled underfoot by monsters and foes in the jungle, so we're boosting her carapace to help her survivability. That's spider speak for defense. Okay, there we go. So the base health is going up by nearing 20. That's not bad at level 1. And then armor growth is going up by 0.65 per level. That will add up. That is going to make her a tankier spider in the early game. And that's good, because Elise generally is quite an early game snowballing jungler that does kind of fall off if she doesn't snowball. So helping her early game, I think, is good. So yeah, again, when do you see Elise's? I think of today, I actually saw one. But before that, you don't see this champion at the moment. But I like her. She's a bit different, and I like that. Hecarim, so a champ that I still do see from time to time taking over solo queue games. He has obviously that great synergy with Divine Sunderer. That item is still pretty strong, and he's pretty good with a lot of the modern items. So W cooldown reduced and no longer scales. Once again, I think the scale thing has to do with, like, it doesn't go off ability haste, so it's just going to be 18-second cooldown from now on. And then healing against minions and monsters has been increased. Okay, one thing I don't think anything needs in League of Legends is more sustain. I think the sustain in the game is crazy. So even Hecarim, I don't think needs sustain. But anyway, the cooldown used to be 22 seconds at rank 1, and then was that 16? No, 18. It was 18 at rank 5, but once again, they're specifically saying no longer scales. So I'm guessing, and someone can, if you want to clarify, that's fair. I think that means it doesn't go off ability haste. So even if you have some ability haste and it should be below 18 seconds, this ability ignores that. It is going to be 18 seconds. So it's a buff overall, because you weren't getting that 18-second cooldown until rank 5 anyway, but it just can't go lower than that. And then the capped healing versus minions and monsters. So it could do 90 healing at rank 1, 210 healing at rank 5. It now can do 120 at rank 1, 240 at rank 5. So a 30 healing buff. So he is going to be a bit healthier going through the jungle. Again, I think that's probably unneeded, personally. But what I would say is, as I mentioned, I still see some Hecarim's wrecking face from time to time. He definitely didn't need a damage buff. They're giving him this buff probably because the data is telling them so, more than anything else. I'm fine with this being the buff if they needed to buff the champion. At least it's not a damage buff, because yeah, I don't think Hecarim needed that. Irelia, my favourite champion. So again, still an insane champ in many, many regards. You see her in a lot of games, very popular. And again, I would say she's a fun champion to play. I do warrant that. I've played her. I've got fed on this champion a few times. She is fun. It is fun to wreck people and jump around with Q and land the E with the Q. She's very satisfying to play, I grant you, and that's why so many people like her. Plus, she's insanely strong. And I will say, obviously, I do the high rating spectates quite a bit. The amount of times that Irelia is in those games is mad. In the next few days, I'll be releasing a Showmaker game, playing Yasuo, and he's against an Irelia. I did the Faker game, he's against a Blanc, he was against Irelia. I don't seek out these games against Irelia, it's just they're all over the place. They are in these challenger games, they're just there. So, playing Irelia late game shouldn't be a total waltz in the park. She's succeeding too easily, especially when she stacks heavy AD items like Sterix and Gore Drinker, so we're cutting down on the Blade Dancer's passive boost late. So again, I will say the really weird thing to me, and I know I have a little bias against Irelia, so maybe I'm reading too much into it. A few patches ago, maybe 3 months ago by now, I don't even know, time has gone very fast, Riot did a blog and they were mentioning Irelia. And they even had in that blog, I remember the language being very bad to Irelia, and I'm sure some Irelia players didn't like that blog because they were basically calling her a free win champion, especially in early game. And obviously they did a whole change that they toned down the early game, didn't do that much, but they gave her a better late game. And obviously now they're saying she's succeeding too easily. And that's been, if you do, like, you know, listen to what I've said when I'm playing against Aurelias from time to time, that is the core language that I've been using, is she's too easy to do what she does. Like, she can miss her ultimate and it doesn't matter. The passive, the damage, the everything, the sustain she gets, it's crazy, and it does feel too easy for it. So hopefully they're going to be toning stuff down, and this seems to be, and I will say, a decent nerf, because it's a passive. Obviously, we all know Irelia passive. She becomes glowy, and then suddenly, Jesus Christ, she does 1 million damage, even at like level 2. The reason because of that is at max stack, so when she becomes glowy, and that's when an Irelia is going to look to fight, she got 30% bonus AD. That is now being toned down to 20%. So this is a really big nerf. It's a 33.3% nerf. If you look at all these buffs, nerfs, etc., nothing is a 33% either change in either direction. That is big for a just flat out damage like reduction. So again, why Irelia as a champion, you know, let's say she starts the game with, I don't know, 60 AD maybe. It might be around that number. I should actually try to find out. Can I try to find out? Actually not there. Let me go. I'll edit that out. Where can I go? Over here. Irelia base stats. So Aurelia's base AD is 65. Okay, sorry, it was actually more than I thought. 65, and she gets +4 per level. Plus, obviously, she's starting with a Doran's Blade a lot of the time, especially in mid lane. So she probably at level 2 has 80 AD, let's say. With 30%, let me just, again, I'm doing this live, so I want to make sure. 30% of 80, 24 AD, might not sound like a lot, but at level 2, for a champion to then have 104 AD that scales off her abilities, that scales obviously with auto attacks, and she's running Ignite, that's why it was so powerful. Over 100 AD at level 2 is mad. So that's why it's always been, oh god, the free level 2 or the free early game or free lane phase for Irelia. And they did change Irelia to try and tone down the early game, maybe unsuccessfully, but they gave her a better late game. But now she's had a too strong early game, but also a too strong late game, where she's not supposed to be a late game champion anymore. She's supposed to be early mid. So they're toning it down in general. This, they are saying it's a late game nerf. It is, because if you have 400 AD, a 10% nerf at 400 AD is much bigger than early to late game. But this is still an early game nerf also. There are some Aurelias that will feel this going, oh god, my damage is nowhere near as high as it used to be. So that, I'd say, yeah, it's good. This champion, I don't mind Irelia, and I know people go, Huz, you hate Irelia. I respect the champion in many ways. I just think, again, she's fun to play. Whether she's skill-based or not, that is if she didn't do insane amounts of damage, I do think she'd be relatively skill-based, because you do have to use the Q well and use the E and kind of sync that all up. The fact that she just does way too much damage is what makes her not very skillful. If they tone down the damage, which isn't just true for Irelia, just the game in general, I think she'd be a very cool champ. I generally do. I could see me even playing the champion, but to me it's just not very satisfying. One, playing Irelia because the damage is too high, and also playing against Irelia because you never feel you got outskilled. You just got beat by how much damage she did. It was like, whoa, Jesus, I got auto-attack 3 times and I'm dead at level 2. So that is a good start. Whether it's enough, I don't know. And the weird thing here is the Gore Drinker item is everywhere right now. Literally everywhere. So many champions are buying that item. It's insanely strong. The healing is still broken. They're not changing Gore Drinker. They haven't touched that item. It's really weird why they keep not adjusting Gore Drinker. I don't know why. Instead, like, yes, I do think this Irelia nerf is warranted anyway without that. But if the next patch starts to be nerfs to like Camille, Aatrox, Riven, all these champs that use Gore Drinker, sometimes it feels like they don't have to nerf those champions. They just need to nerf the common item. But Riot seem to be really against sometimes nerfing their prized mythic items, so it's weird. But anyway, Jarvan, a champ I like, but they did maybe overbuff his passive, which I think they do. They are saying here. So Jarvan 4 has been dominating the jungle meta with his exemplary ganks and super fast clear. We're partially reverting his 11.16 buff, more specifically the part that helped his dueling and clearing capabilities. So a lot of people, it's weird, I don't actually think know what Jarvan passive is. It's a massive chunk auto attack. It's like a tank killing auto attack every like 12 or something seconds that it used to do before this now nerf 10% of the target's current health. So if someone was 100% health, bam, that's 10% of your health bar gone instantly. It could be a tank. It could be a tank with 4,000 health. Bang, like one auto. It's big. Like that's a lot of damage. And I think, I don't know if it used to be like 6% or did it used to just be 8%? Because is this just a complete revert? It's going back down to 8%. But I don't remember if it used to be 8% and they buffed it to 10, or was it like 6% and then they buffed it to 10? I can't remember, but they are nerfing it. I like Jarvan. Like, Jarvan is one of the champs to me that I feel would be a great candidate for the new rework type, the ASU, the art rework, because Jarvan, even though he's a 10-something-year-old champion, he still feels healthy in the game. It's not like he feels bad in terms of, oh, he feels outdated. There are some skins of his, like the more modern skins, that look good. His old skins look pretty bad. But I'd be all for a rework or a remake of Jarvan. Like, remember, he is a king. And the weird thing sometimes is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, again, I'm not the best with lore, isn't Jarvan is the king of Demacia now? Hang on, Jarvan for king? As the king's only son, Jarvan is the heir to apparent throne of Demacia. So, what I'm about to mention, right? He is either right now the king or he's the prince, whatever. In the last 5, 6, 7 years of all the lore events with Demacia versus Noxus, why is it always Garen versus Darius? Darius, I guess, makes sense because he's the general of Noxus. They don't have a king. That's their whole thing. They don't like the crown. So the general makes the most sense. I guess Garen and Darius have that similarity to them. They kind of look the same. They're just like the good version and not evil version, but like they're opposites. But in reality, shouldn't Jarvan be in these events? Shouldn't he be the person that's like, Demacia? I don't know. But maybe an ASU to actually like make that apparent that he is the Demacian king right now or whatever, like, or the heir to the Demacian throne. That would be kind of sick. So maybe I'm throwing my hat into Jarvan should get an ASU. Shen. I don't see Shen too often nowadays, but he's always good. So Shen's tipping the top lane tank meta out of equilibrium. I mean, it's not really a tank meta in top lane, but anyway. They're just reverting a buff. So the shield used to do, before the buff, 60 to 111 based on what level you are, plus 14% bonus health. It's now doing 50 to 101, so a 10 base shield nerf based on your level, and then 14% bonus health. So it's a 10 shield nerf. Yeah, it's not even worth doing at this point. Like, that's nothing. So there's that. So they're nerfing. And remember, this isn't his ult shield. This is the passive shield. So every 10, 15 seconds, he gets passive shielding. Again, 10 shield less when you're doing trades in top lane. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit, but I still don't think it's going to be a big deal for Shen. I think that's fine. Again, I still don't see Shen taking over games like I do other top laners at the moment. Singed, very weird champion for me to see nerfs. I have seen some Singed recently. Obviously, we had that Singed mid that didn't do great. He was against us. That I will say, I'm not saying like I want to apologize for that game, but I obviously in that commentary was like, oh god, this Singed is terrible and he's losing his team the game. I do think it is partially true that he did lose his team the game by picking Singed mid. But if that's what he enjoys and he's not trolling per se, then all power to him. The way the language that I sometimes want to use is if you were to Singed mid, arguably losing you the game because he's picked Singed mid, and you're in Diamond promo for the first time ever. You're in Game 5, you've won 2 games, lost 2 games. This is the deciding game for you to get Diamond, first time ever. Boom, you have a Singed mid on your team. And he loses the game because he's playing Singed mid. How would you feel? And that is sometimes, I guess, the takeaway that like some people just don't think. It's like, oh, just let him play the game he wants. Sure, in respect, it is everybody's video game. That is the way that he wants to play it. But also, you can't just completely dismiss people's frustration of having something like a Singed mid. There is a reason he is not a mid laner. So it's kind of like both sides have a point. One side is it's a video game, let them have fun. I completely get that point. But on the other side, it is ranked. It's not just your rating on the line, and it could be a really important match for somebody. Again, he wasn't a Singed mid main. He was a Singed top main that didn't get top, so he just played Singed mid. There's a line to me. Like, I'm not saying I know the line perfectly, but there is a line of like what is acceptable as the community as a whole of you would be really unhappy if you lost your Diamond promo for the first time ever because you had a Singed mid. But I grant, Singed isn't as bad as a champion as I think he is, if that makes sense. He has some strengths to him. Like the game, weirdly, after that, I had a Singed on my team. I was playing Vex, I think. He did pretty good. Like, I probably didn't give enough credit to that Singed. He actually did pretty good. It's hard sometimes to go, hey, he's doing great, when in reality he's just running around. So it is hard to sometimes like pick out things that Singed are doing well because there's no outplay. Singed is all decision making. It's where he is at what time is what makes a Singed good, not mechanics. But anyway, this is a nerf to Singed, which I would say it is weird that they are nerfing him. So the Mad Chemist has gotten a little out of hand ever since we added a couple of tricks to his name, like Grievous Wounds to his RQ. I didn't even know his... Wait, really? His poison when he's ultimate it has Grievous Wounds. I did not know that. Reducing the output on one of his less signature moves to keep him in smog check. So the Fling... The damage base is going down by 20 at rank 5, but not much in the early game, but a little bit. And the damage ratio, which is the bigger nerf, that is, 15% damage nerf. Now, obviously, Singed aren't doing majority of their damage with Fling. They're doing it with their poison. But I have seen Singed, that little extra burst to, like, kill somebody with the Fling is quite good, and that is being nerfed. So, Singed players probably won't like that, and the way of it, I will say right now to you, if you were to come up with a list of champions to buff and nerf in League, if you were like, Huz, what's your nerf list? Singed is not on that list. There are way higher priority champions that should be getting nerfed over Singed. That's the way that I would sometimes say it, is Singed wouldn't even be in my top 20 of champions that need a nerf. Maybe not even top 50. So it's a bit weird to see Singed here and not other champions. Talia, Q, damage to monsters, hit by subsequent stones reduced. So Talia's doing a bit too well. Now again, this might be a confusing champion for some people to see. Where do you see Talia? Why is Talia getting nerfed? I see it, Talia's feeding. This is a good example, if I had to imagine, and I'm hoping I don't look like an idiot here, and there is a chance. This should be a high rating nerf. So let's go up to the thing. Alright, so Talia... in my eyes, that's skilled play. So Plat to Diamond 3 is the main reason that Talia is getting nerfed. To be honest, I'm a bit of an idiot, or it sounds like it, because I don't see, like, that is my rating bracket on 2 of my accounts, and I don't see any Talias. I do see Talias when I do Challenger Spectates. I see Talias all the time. So I would have guessed this would have been an elite nerf, not a skilled nerf. Again, it's not an average nerf, so it is higher rating. But to be honest, I would have expected this to be an elite. I don't see Talias. And to be honest, when I have seen Talias, in all honesty, they've done quite bad. So they are just nerfing her jungle clear, basically. So less damage per stone that hits. So it's just toning that down. And then finally, Udyr. Our cone damage increased. So they are giving him higher base damage. Yep. So no AP ratio increase, just base damage is going up. So Tank Phoenix Udyr was a menace in Pro earlier this season, thanks to items like Turbo Chem Tank. I think we all remember that. The meta's changed quite a bit since then, in some regards, and it's left him in a pretty sad state. So we're reverting the 11.12 nerf to his R to let him spread his wings once again. But obviously, they have toned down those tank items, so hopefully Udyr won't take over completely again. Remember, it was like Udyr, Skarner. It was like really weird champions that you'd never expect them to take over. Suddenly were really strong, but it was because of items. Item nerf and changes. So we have Imperial Mandate. So Imperial Mandate hasn't been a strong choice for most enchanter supports and bot lane mages. We're giving it a royal treatment with a damage boost to make it a more viable as a mythic. So the initial hit bonus damage is going up considerably. Wow, that's pretty good. And then a bug fix. Damage dealt by Imperial Mandate's mark will properly attribute to the allied champion who consumes it. Oh, so I presume that means in the end of lobby, you know, when you see damage done, this wasn't adding up correctly who was actually doing that damage from the item. So there's that. So it is a pretty good damage buff. I'd say there are obviously some champions that buy Mandate, but the one that rings the most in my mind that this would be good for is Morgana support if she's not doing a mage mythic. Imperial Mandate was always good on Morgana support, and this is just a damage buff for that. So look out for Morgana support potentially. Smite. So Smite Healing based on max health reduced. Gromp and Ancient Krug base decreased. So we have earlier, even when I was speaking, the one thing I really don't think is needed in the game is extra sustain, if any regard. I think it needs to go down by a lot. So when I saw the Hecarim buff earlier, it's like, that is weird. The game has way too much healing in it. How many of people have seen junglers nearly die? They run into the jungle, do one camp, they leave, and they're back to full health. That's very common. So they are nerfing the healing on Smite. So it used to do, based on max health, by the way, 15% by just smiting something as a jungler. Not obviously champions, I don't think, give you healing, but like smiting a minion or smiting, or maybe not even a minion. Was it like jungle camps only and monsters? I think it's jungle camps and monsters only actually that gives the healing. But they're nerfing it. It was 15%, it's now 10. Again, it's still a lot of healing considering how much just generic healing and with Omnivamp and everything is in the game. But it will slow some champions down a bit. And then the jungle camps themselves, the base AD of Gromp is going down and the base AD of Ancient Krugs is going down because with this less healing, they're probably worried that the junglers, some junglers, are probably going to be beaten up a little bit too much without having the sustain. They might not be able to do a full clear. So they're doing now. We're getting Worlds Clash soon. A lot of bug fixes. Wow, a lot of bug fixes. So this one... Oh, so Anivia's base voice lines have been remastered. So I just saw Anivia and I was like, oh, what's the Anivia one? As I've always said, if you see a champion that you play, do look into this. And here is 2 ones just to go over. New player experience. Brand will replace Ahri in the League of Legends tutorial. So maybe they thought Ahri was a bit too complicated for a new player, which maybe she was, to be honest. So Brand a bit more basic. That's cool. And then the bigger one here potentially is AFK penalty changes will continue their rollout to additional regions except Korea and China. So they're not saying what regions they are on right now, or they might have, I don't know. But obviously we did a whole video about this. So if you are someone that AFKs, hopefully none of you do, but they are coming to more regions this patch. So don't be AFKing, otherwise you're going to get banned like quite a lot in time. And then, yeah, so we got the new skins also. Out of these ones, you know, I do like Bewitching Morgana, but out of the new ones, Again, they all really seem, I don't know if it's just me, they all seem really generic. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't this Fiora's second Halloween skin? I swear her teacher one was a Halloween skin. I'm pretty sure. So that's weird. I'd probably say the Poppy one is my favourite, but also weirdly enough, why is Poppy getting a skin this patch? Poppy just got a Hextech skin. It's just a bit weird. But yeah, they all seem kind of similar and generic. But anyway, that is going to be it. That's the patch. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the insight. If you did, do throw a like on the video and let me know what you think. Do you think anything is missing? Do you think anything is wrong? Let me know. As I mentioned, the big weird thing takeaway for me is why the hell are we seeing Singed nerfs over other champions? Like, there are way more champions that need to be nerfed over Singed. But anyway, that's going to be it. If you guys enjoyed, throw a like on it, throw a comment, throw a subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.
Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal